All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Swain Batty League for your second semifinal between Kylie's Playground Pals and the Four Eggplants in what will, on paper should not be as good of a series as what we expected last week, but in reality is pretty much a lock to be a better series than we had last week. I'm here with Thrifty Senpai and Hibbs. And,
yes.
Guys, we're right into it. We got bands coming out already, so these teams already on their shit. No one waits for the stream okay to go start these games anymore. No, we need another Iron Fisted commissioner to put that shit down.
If you insist.
Yep, that is unfortunately the state of the league as we are now, with a weak, soft commissioner rolling over for us. But
yeah, where's 30
weak
this week?
fear
Why am
the
I here?
shadows. Fear controls them.
30's
Weak commissioner. Weak commissioner.
Yep.
So,
as you wish.
Dropping into bands here, we got Kylie's Playground Pals taking away Jana Swain, Cogmaw, so kind of hitting all across the board there. The Jana, the Swain, not too surprising. We see those get put a lot by a sword and such respectively. The Cogmaw, maybe not something I would have expected as much, but this team, in case you weren't watching in the quarterfinals, Four Eggplants
The
did
warrior
reverse
spirit
sweep
is
their
never
matchup.
broken.
After starting without Crystallize in the starting lineup, they put him in for game 3 and proceed to win 3 straight. So maybe that's why they're putting a little pressure on him. But on the other side, Four Eggplants taking away Katarina, Kane, and Xin Zhao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both Kane and Zinzhao are big Mad Cow jungles. And Katarina obviously aimed at Beyblade here.
Yeah, they're really trying to take the carry potential away from Cow, who switched to jungle as a result of the meta. Top lane meta being a little bit tankier, and the jungle meta being a little bit more carry oriented. He's kind of made the switch into the jungle role, and Kane and Xin Zhao are two of his kind of main picks for that.
Yeah, and that's going to be, obviously the story of the match, I think, is this role swap that's they currently at least have themselves ordered like they're going to be taking. And, we talked all season about how there's so much talent on Kylie's Playground Pals, blah, blah, blah. I think we had really high expectations. I think everyone, even on the team, is going to agree this team did not live up to the expectations. But maybe a role swap is kind of the change they needed. Obviously, Scotch up in the top lane has a lot of experience up there. If Mad Cow can be somewhat of a formidable jungle threat, maybe this team is an actual championship contender still.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I'm really interested to see how the mid and bot lane also stack up. Beyblade Bestest One's been doing really, really well for these for the Four Eggplant squad. So I'm really curious to see how him and Beyblade will stack up over a best of 5.
I think Splinter electing to go with the Rek'Sai here indicates how they're kind of planning to play this game. Rek'Sai's pretty good with early ganks and early damage, so he should be able to kind of get his team ahead, but not the same carry potential as, say, like a Hecarim or a Nocturne, something that he can go with, and that's a Kennen for Sword and Mace, I assume.
Yeah, something he has traditionally, all time over Sword and Mace's career, we've seen a lot of Kennen games.
I'm going to interrupt real fast. That Amumu is actually a Callista.
Callista?
Yes.
This is where we come in and say that SBL AD carries aren't as good as pro AD carries, and they shouldn't pick Callista.
Don't think you a big
resets plays Callista more than any other AD carry in this league. That's not saying that he's good at it. It's hard.
Wow.
You're right that it's hard to say that how good a gold/plat player's mechanics can really be, but I've seen this guy play mechanically tough champions like Vayne, Callista, and he's pretty good. So I think if anybody was going to pick it, it'd be him. But we'll see. Still a hard pick to do well on.
Playtime's over.
Yeah, and I am kidding a little here, but I am super excited to see this champ in action. Obviously, if anyone most people watching this probably been following the World Championship. It has been banned 100% of games at Worlds. No one even flirting with the idea of letting that pick through.
Yeah. Really interesting
And
that is like that's been the case. So we haven't really gotten to see how it performs on a world stage, let alone an SBL stage.
yeah, we're gonna get the next best thing.
Yep.
It's supposed to like destroy meta ADCs super hard, so we'll see what Crystallize picks. Because if they elect into a bad
Well, he
matchup,
is going to be playing the Xayah.
oh, the
Yeah, he's
Xayah,
already
right,
picked the
right.
Xayah.
Xayah
So-
Lulu is their bot lane. It looks once he locks in.
Yep. Something to point out in the second round of bans too, both mid pools getting hit a little more, are getting taken away from Beyblade, and both of Bestest One's major assassin picks getting banned here.
Yeah, Bestest One losing his what have really been his two go-tos all season. What's been a pretty good season out of him, and then he is going to have the counter pick available though, so we'll see what direction Beyblade chooses to go here as he's hovering that Lissandra. I'm guessing that's going to be Lissandra in the mid lane, not some crazy shit going down to get that Lissandra up top. As yeah, they're still missing an 80 carry, so that's definitely. Oh wait, no,
No,
who the fuck was the
they have
who
Kalista.
again? Kalista.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Calista.
never
It's
mind.
100% in the mid lane.
Now, see if Riot would just give us some tournament realm accounts, we wouldn't have to worry about this.
That's true. I mean, we should be able to make an argument for that. We are a 10-season run league run. Like, they should hit us up with that.
We've grown League of Legends.
Yeah.
I have personally done more to grow League of Legends than some Rioters. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Looks like we're gonna see the Vladimir here as the last pick. I really, really like that to round out this team.
Yeah, that's going to be a good fit. This four eggplants comp is
Microphone
going to
muted.
have some very good
Microphone
team fighting
activated.
potential now.
Yeah.
They have a lot of dive towards the back line with Kennen and Vladimir, who both can dive into the back line and have a lot of staying power, neither die too quickly. Kennen with Zanya's and Vladimir with his pool, mixed with the Rek'Sai jumping in on you. And I think Kalista, kind of a short-range champion, could experience some trouble in some late-game fights if they get there. Really just depends on his mechanics.
Yeah, I was one thing to mention is like it's gonna be a lot of pressure on Master Splinter and Sword and Mace to go hunt down that Callista, because Vlad is not gonna actually. You mentioned that Vlad is a good diving caster, and that is true. However, whenever he is to do that, he is dependent on either being enabled by his own team or having Summoner Spell flash up, and this is not a particularly easy team to dive into, having Jarvan, Ramos, and Tom Kench. So Vlad is going to be very much dependent
Is
on
that fear
his
I
team enabling
smell?
him or him having flash for the big team fight plays.
If you
We're just
insist.
having to redraft here, and then we have a little bit of a wait. What do you guys think about the potential outcome of this game? What
warrior
team comp do you like better? What team do you like better?
I'm definitely liking the four eggplants comp a little better on paper.
Microphone muted.
You know,
Microphone
we
activated.
talk
you
about it every
wish.
week. The Splinter comps just they tend to be a bit more cohesive, and that's what I see here on the red side.
Well, he
whereas
always
guys-
picks strong. He picks like a strong team fighting team.
The
They always
weak fear the shadows. Fear controls
It ain't broke,
them.
don't fix it, right?
No, yeah, and it's just like 100% true. And I think like if you're not playing at the highest level of League of Legends, that is like the easiest style of comp to execute, because it's just if you can't figure out how to split push or set up pressure along the map and coordinate that all the way, you can always fall back on team fighting. Like that is something that you can always reliably have happen in a match of League of Legends.
And it's worth noting we shit on teams every week for not being able to set up split push pressure properly and all that. Do remember there are maybe 5 teams in the whole world that know how to do that, and they all currently play in the League Champions of Korea. So you know,
Playtime's over.
we're gonna keep shitting on people for not being those teams, but there's a reason the teams can't do that. And it's really difficult to set up split pushes properly without
Are you
taking just retarded
certain?
gambles on the map.
Yeah. I mean, something also to remember is that those top teams are doing
Mundo
that, trying to
think
pull that
you a
off
big
against other
sissy.
top teams.
Yeah, I think it depends stylistically on your players. Splinter builds teams around him, or teams that are picked around him, he molds
Wait.
them into team fighting teams. And you look at players on Playground
Wait,
Pals
are
like
you remotely
Beyblade,
surprised by that? I
like
could hear that. I
Chopman.
saw that. I saw that confusion, and I could hear it in
What do you?
Swift's voice. Was just
No,
like,
sorry. I got
Oh, it's the
trolled by the
Tom Kench.
placeholder picks.
Oh,
But
okay, okay.
yes, I was expecting that Kench and the Nautilus to be flipped, but now that I see it, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Scotch.
That makes more sense because Scotch is a Tom Kench
Yep.
Tom
player.
Kench is Scotch, and also Tom Kench is not particularly well suited to the support pool at the moment.
I think Lulu should beat either of them in lane.
I agree, but Nautilus has a bit better potential to actually win that lane because you can always get like a solid hard engage. I would not in
Uh,
current meta. I would not want to have a Tom Kench support until a Lulu support.
I agree. I think the Lulu support, if the level 1, level 2 Callista all-in doesn't happen, Lulu support will get more tools in the middle levels and will definitely be more valuable than Nautilus. What the Nautilus lane kind of depends on is
Microphone muted.
getting kind of a
Microphone
cheese early
activated.
all-in with those Callista Ren stacks. Because Callista cannot lose a 1v1 at level 1. There's just the Ren stacks are insane. So I think that's definitely a lane to watch early on. If it goes like most SBL bot lanes, nothing will happen. And I think the Xayah and Lulu will outscale.
Yeah, they definitely have, as far as power curves go, this 4 eggplant squad definitely has the stronger scaling team going late. But the Cali's Playground Palace have a really, really strong mid-game team. Both the Jarvan and Lissandra offering a lot of pick pressure with Tom Kench to move them around the map. They're definitely, this team's going to have to look to try and break. They have to start the game off aggressively. Like, they can go even in a laning phase, but the second it gets to mid game, they have to generate a lot of pressure to prevent themselves from getting outscaled come late.
Yeah, with the pick of Callista plus Nautilus too. Callista's alt into Nautilus.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
cycle is just insane. They have so much pick potential across their team, but that does mean, like you're saying, they have much less damage.
It's not even so much like less
So-
damage, just like stylistically, like what their comp plays to do and like how team fights tend to go come late game. Just the combination of like Ken and Vladimir and Xayah is very difficult to handle. In addition to the fact that like Lulu scales really well and Rek'Sai is still just a frontline tank.
Lulu, Xayah, Vlad also pretty anti-pick.
Yes, exactly.
Vlad pooling away, Xayah goes invulnerable. So very Lulu's not going to stop you from dying to a full Nautilus and Lissandra cycle, but all of those things together could prevent a lot of the engage.
Yeah. No, and then that's gonna be something that's gonna be really big, especially come like late game, in like alright team fights. But this like the Cali's Playground Pal, like that's why they need to generate that lead. It's not that they're going to lose 100% if they don't generate that, but their chances of winning drastically drop if they're not able to generate a sizable lead in the 15 to 25 minute range. Like that's where that team really thrives.
How do you feel about these summoner spell choices? I'm not really
Yes.
liking.
That is exactly what I wanted to ask our mid lane expert here. We've got Ignite on Lissandra in the mid lane after he'd been hovering teleport pretty close down to the wire. What do you think that's going to be a good call, Tim?
So I find that to be a really interesting choice. I would have taken teleport in this matchup just because that is what you're gonna try. Your goal is to try and accomplish the like roam game. You want to try and snowball your team ideally against this. What that ignite says is that is very nice to have an ignite against Vladimir. First of all, like that is huge against him. So I can see him doing that for fights, but that's mostly saying that Jarvan is gonna fucking come mid lane and we're gonna try and kill this Vlad because Vlad is a champion that struggles a lot when he's behind, and against this particular team, Vlad does basically nothing if they put him behind. So that is, if it wasn't for the fact that Vlad was such a safe mid laner, I would say it's a very risky pick.
I think it's risky only because teleport is better for that mid game pick potential, and I think Nautilus could have gone Ignite and had more pressure in his own lane.
Microphone activated.
Yeah.
So I think the Nautilus should have Ignite and Lissandra should have teleport. Not the biggest, not the most important, because the Exhaust is a great summoner spell versus Kennen, Rek'Sai, but I think I would have, as a support, gone Ignite and asked my mid laner to go teleport and use that mid game Lissandra power spike to maybe look for a side lane gank with teleport. We'll see what they do with that Ignite. As you said, they could camp mid and put that Vlad behind. I think that is now necessary because Lissandra is roaming for Lissandra is a little bit handicapped at this point.
Yeah, no. Lissandra, like, while a very powerful champion and like not meta, the reason she's not meta is not because of her power level. It's just the stylistic situation, like stylistic play style that she has. Like, the stylistic choices you're making with Lissandra in your comp right now does not particularly fit to what all these teams are trying to accomplish. That and a combination of the fact that, like, with the big support meta of like Lulu, Janna, and everything like that, it's hard for Lissandra to go a full burst build either on these 80 carries. So you gotta kind of put her more into a control mage style, and that's just not fitting well with what the what the mid lane mages are expecting to do at the moment. But this isn't Worlds, and this is a professional level play, and I still think she could see, like, she is still viable there, just not as much so. So I'm really excited to see how how Beyblade plays this. This is a lane he does need to play very, very well, though. The skill of the Lissandra player drastically affects this matchup.
Alright, speaking of Beyblade, gonna go face checking into a bush, has to blow his flash at level 1, and creeps him already spot. He's walking towards the best one. He doesn't have an escape summoner. What the hell is Sinister Beyblade hoping to do? Is Bestest One's popping his ghost here, going for the chase, and he's gonna get it, flashes forward, gets the Q, first blood, the Bestest One. But now Scotch looking like he wants to chase him down, but he's just a River King. And his river's about to come to an end.
Microphone muted. Microphone activated.
And that's about as bad as it could get, honestly. Like, that is first blood for the Vladimir and a very snowball champion in this lane. And if Vlad gets ahead of this matchup, he's just going to be able to, he is going to be able to ignore a lot of this Lissandra damage. He gets some little early MR, and he can just shrug off her poke and just trade in his favor.
Yeah, that's I don't know what he's thinking. Why not just ward? I think that he was looking to go for an early ward on the red buff, but with no support from jungle or top lane, he really does overextend himself against a team that literally just fanned out.
Yeah.
So definitely a big mistake by him, and maybe he could have asked his team for help. Maybe his team should have seen what he was doing.
Yeah, like
now
that
it's
was
too
on
late
him,
now,
though.
though.
Like, to go in there without his team was just a poorly on
absolutely.
choice.
Yeah, and a great bush bait out of Splinter and Bestis there. You know, that's something we see even at the professional level. One of the most effective ways to play out level 1 is just pick a bush where you think they might invade and guess. And if that gamble pays off 1 in 5 games, I mean, that could win you an entire game in a best of 5.
Yeah, that was Sword and West just waiting there. They're like, hey, we gotta do this red, but we could wait here until then. And then Best just took Beyblade took really questionable pathing. Like, he could have just walked back through into his jungle and then safely got out.
Oh, meanwhile, in this battle, we got Master Splinter coming in, getting some nice knockouts, but he's taking a lot of damage himself. Exhaust going down on a Condemn resets, but the Nautilus gets knocked up, but Condemn resets is going to get the kill on the Splinter. Lulu trades onto John Gruden, though. It looks like this is not done. We see the Callista going forward. I see Heal coming out of Crystallize, but a double kill for the Callista. This is showing why this champ has to get banned in every game. There are so many stacks. Crystallize, can the Callista do it? They trade to the creep damage. Triple kill Callista.
Wow.
That's exactly what they needed right there.
That is an explosive.
Huge.
Explosive start to this game. 3 kills going down to both teams. It is not even 5 minutes in. That Callisto is going to be terrifying, though. That is a lot of gold.
Deservedly so. Condemn Resets played that awesome. That was so good.
Yeah. That was really solid. The only thing I was thinking of is, like, if Master Splinter, if Gruden would have hooked out and, like, actually got out, or if he would have hooked onto Master Splinter instead, like, that could have been even worse. But,
yeah, and honestly, I think that was a really poorly played gank by Master Splinter.
I think it was a terribly played gank.
Like, where that creep wave was positioned, his bot lane was at a level disadvantage when he went in, and that, to me, isn't something you criticize Splinter for often, but that seemed like a tilt take. Like a, holy shit, we are so fucked in the mid lane, we have to just force a play. So I don't give a damn about the lane situation. I'm
Time
going
for top, though. Daryl Chopman
yeah.
going in, gets the knockup and the slow into Sword Mace. This is not a gank you're going to get out of at this point. And,
the Chop Man is on the board. First kill on the Jarvan, and was just starting to think it's about time he gets involved here. A little too much farming for my taste. But pays off with the first gank there, and this Jarvan, it's going to be very easy if they can get this Jarvan snowballing in addition to the Kalista.
yeah. That is a really scary combination to have going.
Yeah, but Crystallize getting hit with another hook. Both these AD carries taking a big trade there. We could be close to another fight in this bot lane.
Yeah, this time only Summoner spell up is Flash on Condemn Resets. So we're seeing Jarvan path onto the bottom end of this map, but it's definitely possible. He's like, hey, they don't have Flash. Go to, you know, work through your camp. They're shoving in. Jarvan's gonna come and bring the pain.
Those flashes will not be up before both bot lanes hit level 6 too. So if they want to save their gank right at level 6 with Nautilus ult, Callista ult, pretty much a guaranteed kill at this point.
And they have level. Looks like Sentry GG does have the level advantage on them though, by just a bit, which could be very, very important to have.
I still don't think they survive even with Lulu ult and Zaya ult. But it'll make things a lot closer.
It gives them a chance if like they get the ult.
It gives them it gives them a great shot at it.
Yeah.
It looks like Splinter kind of realizes it and kind of found out the jungle pathing towards bottom.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we're seeing Bestis in the mid lane doing a really solid job of punishing Beyblade for that kill. Like he's already up almost 3 waves here. He's getting himself like generating a good amount of pressure.
Yeah, and if you look at the 4 eggplants, the bottom jungle for Kylie's Playground Pals lit up with red wards. So Bestis One knows he is fairly safe to keep this pressure up. And this is one of the best situations you can be in as Vlad, when you can just AFK push that into the enemy tower. And that turns into a really tough situation for Lissandra. Once you have to start using your mana, oh, we don't have time for that. It's a nice hook landing on a Sentry GG here in the bot lane. Exhaust goes down onto Crystallize, but I don't think Condemn Resets can follow up.
It's weird that we didn't see Gruden try to get the auto onto Crystallize because he was slowed down there. That'd be the route, and that would let them, you know, continue the follow up here. But
there
looks
was
like we
some
might
weird
have
miscommunication there.
Yeah, we might have a situation here in mid lane though. Lots of people all over the place. Bestis One.
Bestis One. Top of the old now Sword Mace going for Blackbow with the slicing down. So a nice on a Sword Mace, or on a Beyblade, and a kill for Sword and Mace there.
That was really well done by Sword Mace. I actually think Bestis One like didn't realize that his team was right there.
Oh, but Sentry GG getting shredded through here, has to flash under his tower.
Oh, this game is just leaving very little moments of downtime. Makes it very fun to cast. I think like Bestis One kind of freaked out there for a second because like he immediately ulted pooled. I feel like he could have baited them a little harder in because like the Kennen and the Rek'Sai were right there in the bush. But in the end, it doesn't matter. And Dario Chopman finding some trouble in his own jungle. Flash out from Splinter.
Chopman gonna flag and drag his way out of there, but now a lot of friends have showed up for KPP. Sandra trying to put some damage out, waiting for Splinter to return, going down to the River King, and they are chasing onto this Vladimir with a long way to go. A lot of flashing folks. Kennen trying to put down some suppressive stuns, but not gonna be enough. 2 kills for Kylie's Playground Pals.
Yeah, great job by KPP realizing that that 4EP had kind of overextended into their jungle, trying to do a little bit too much to extend their lead. clear capitalization on that play.
Yeah, that could have been a play that worked out really, really well for them if it worked off. Like, they go there, they kill Dario Chopman, they take his blue, and, you know, they just further, like, cement this lead that they're trying to build in the upper half of the map. But, ended up getting it turned around for them, and that's going to work out very well for KPP. Putting them actually in the gold lead, back in the gold lead here.
They are in the gold lead, but as we said before, Callista has a little bit... They don't really have a timer on the game, but their strongest point is coming up, and if they don't capitalize, it really hurts their chance to win the game.
See, the thing
They
is that...
need to use this Callista level 6, Nautilus level 6 to kill someone.
Yeah, I mean, they don't need, like, they don't have to exactly get a kill, but they do need to further the lead. Like we said, the 15 to 25 minutes is the power spike for this team. So they're getting close into this power spike now that they have, like, all their team is level 6. It's gonna be interesting to see how they play these next level. Like, these next 10 minutes will very, very drastically affect this game. I mean, I guess it always does, though.
Yeah, and unfortunately for us, the first dragon of the game is going to be wind, so these teams might be a bit more hesitant to get anything started around that point on the map.
Yeah. I think that is an unfortunate thing for KPP, because, like, with this early lead pressure they generate, and with the Callista being ahead, you want a dragon. Like, they want a dragon fight right now, but you're not going to probably get too much of it for a win.
There is a huge item discrepancy right now in the mid lane with a full proto belt versus just the catalyst.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one putting a disgustingly large amount of pressure onto Beyblade here. Like, he's put that kill to complete work. He's got a 20+ CS lead. If it wasn't for that little bit of a mishap in the enemy jungle, Lissandra wouldn't have got that killer assist, and she'd be in a really rough spot.
Oh, the max range hook gonna land onto the Zaya, but just so many of these trades in the bot lane seem to be happening where both members of KPP's bot lane can't actually lay down the damage on the same target.
Microphone activated.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that is just, like, not comfortable playing with each other, and how much is that just also trying to reach for plays that aren't there.
Yeah, sometimes, especially when you're kind of a rusty support player, you get so caught up in you want to land hooks that you focus more on landing the hooks than actually being in a position to have meaningful hooks. And it's kind of looking like that's been the case for John Gruden down there. As Scotch playing this one out like he wants to aggress on a Sword Mace.
If he gets another tongue here.
One hit away, and there's the stun. Sword Mace popping, slicing Maelstrom defensively. Scotch, I don't think I'm going to find this one. Oh, the max range tongue, but here comes Jasper Splinter, looking for a knockup, but Scotch going to get the kill with the man in his stomach, but Splinter with the counter kill.
Great recognition by Scotch there to go in, but not having any wards, having the lane push into him leaves him a little vulnerable on that chase.
Yeah, it was
definitely a risk.
It was. Well, the thing was that if he didn't get stunned by the Kennen ult there, it would have been a very free kill. Like, he would have easily been able to walk back to tower. But he decided to go a little long for it.
Yeah, and honestly, given the matchup, I honestly think that trading kills there might have been a win for Scotch. You know, this should have been a lane that Sword and Mace should have been able to bully out. And that never ended up happening because of the way, you know, this early game played out. Yeah. Scotch is now into his power spike.
Yeah, I think that is. I think that's totally right. Like, the kill onto Rek'Sai there does not do nearly as much. Like, sure, they generated more gold off that play because they got kill and assist, but the kill on Scotch is gonna put them in a way farther disparity to the Kennen than, like, the Rek'Sai is gonna. And, like, that's a good way for them to generate this pressure. Like, if no one can deal with the 1v1 Tahm Kench, it's a really solid way for them to start generating pressure.
On this, but then we see a Lissandra ult and a knockup going on in the Vladimir. He's got a long way to run as he's popping the pool, trying to get out of this one. He has a flash available, but he's trying to hold on to it. And actually not going to use the flash. He got the ghost, but nothing there. The Master Splinter has showed up, looking for the craziest ult you'll ever see to get the kill on the Dario Shotman. But meanwhile, in this bot lane, we've got ults going out in every direction. This Condemn Reset's trying to put down the kill, but the Lulu ult on Zaya, I think, is going to save that life. And the turret going to deter this from being a full-out dive.
Kills traded all over the place. We're continuing to stay like pretty close to that 1 kill per minute point. Very bloody game as we're coming in. Still dead even on gold.
Yeah, this is really felt like a solo QE kind of game. That's maybe the best way I can think about the pacing of this game. Is there's been action everywhere, but I don't think there's necessarily been a ton of rhyme or reason to it. It's just the teams are taking the kills that are available. And I'm really interested to see how that translates into this mid game, because Splinter teams have normally been, traditionally been very good at getting more structured as the game goes on. Whereas I think for Kylie's Playground Palace, this is perfect for them in terms of game pacing. They want this game to be chaotic because I think they have more skill across the 5.
But not team fighting skill, I don't think. I think Sinister Beyblade and Dario Chapman. Oh, here we go. We got something.
Yeah, Condemn Reset's taking a polymorph, but I think he's going to be able to just walk out of this one. No summoners required.
Yeah, the
I
big
do
thing though is
think
that puts
they
them
lack
low
team
here.
fight.
Like,
I'm sorry. I do think they lack team fight ability, Beyblade and Chapman a little bit. So we'll see how the superior team fighting.
Oh, and Callista's got a long way to go. We do see a teleport coming out of Sword Mace, but Callista has already gone down, and now Sword Mace coming in the slicing bounce from the tower. It's a 4v2. Should be easy kills here, and they are going to be 3 kills going over to the 4 eggplants.
That should go to the first tower for them here, actually. Really, really clutch because their tower is starting to get very low, getting the first brick onto their team.
Yeah, and a really good job out of 4EP here to, 10 minutes ago we thought this Callista was going to be in a position to carry this game, and Condemn Resets hasn't really done anything to grow his lead. He's really, in the scheme of things, not that far ahead of Crystallize and Zaya at this point.
No, Crystallize has played this lane very, very well considering the fact that like Warrior is at 3-1 behind.
Oh, and the 1v2 being attempted by Sinister Beyblade. He's going to come close, but he's not going to get it.
Microphone muted.
Without
Microphone
Ignite up,
activated.
might have been a little greedy there. I think,
No, he knew that they knew the Ignite was down. The Ignite was used on the last kill there. Like the last time when they had the whole trade between jungler
I think
mid, jungler
Beyblade
mid.
could have gotten out if he had chosen to. But he thought he could do the 1v2.
Yeah, 100% thought he could do the 1v2. The problem is, like, he could have if he wasn't so far behind, but that's
true.
something you have to keep in mind when you are that far behind. Like a play that normally would be very easy for you to do, you can't. Like if the Vlad was, even with you, or if you just had more gold, then that would have been a totally different situation.
Yeah, but the Vlad is 1,200 gold up in that matchup. Very, very far from even for
Yes.
17 minutes in.
Yes, exactly.
I think that definitely could end up being the Playground Pals' downfall. Tom Kench is getting really good value out of his tank items, but with Vlad getting so far ahead, he might be able to kind of outdamage how much magic resists that their tank has, and once that happens, they can just roll him in a team fight.
Yeah, so the thing is, it's not so much the deal with the Tom Kench, it's more the fact that like the Vlad is just gonna be able to do so much damage to everyone else around the Tom Kench. Like, sure, he's getting a lot of value because both Kennen and Vlad are like doing a huge amount of magic damage, and he's just gonna ignore all of that. But his team has to live through all that stuff still.
Riftail going down. More
I honestly
KPP
didn't
here,
even
although
notice
we
they
have
were
Master
starting
Splinter
that.
actually coming into. Looks like a turn onto the Nautilus here. John Green does have a flash available. Teleport coming out of Godfather Scotch. As it's looking like John Green is nearly out of this one. He's going to flash out, but he's flashing straight into the bestest one. But now Scotch is in on the other side of this fight. And it's looking like Callie's Playground Pals want to fight this one, or maybe a bit of miscommunication. As Scotch goes forward while his teammates going backwards. Master flashing from the flank. And we see Vestas one now dropping the ult into 2. Looking for the damage. Sinister Beyblade is a long way from home. Has to flash the thick side of the wall. And there is no turret there, my man. He's hoping defensively just to buy time. And now Dodger Shotman is in. But Crystallize gets the kill on Lissandra. 0 for 2 in favor of 4 eggplants. And they're still looking for more. Godfather Scotch with no help. And is going to make it out this time.
Yeah.
The classic. Trying to make up for a bad play with more bad plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. And
Pulling
that was
in one at a time.
And they not only lost the fight there, they lost the turret to Sword and Mace's push in the
losing
mid
two
lane, and they're
turrets.
about to lose this turret here in the bot lane. A map-wide disaster for Kylie's Playground pals. And like you said, that was just such a classic case of making up for a bad play with another bad play. There is clearly not much thinking going into these fights out of KPP. They're just trying to not fall further behind. And they're playing like they're on a timer. Now, Sword and Mace looking for a very aggressive dive, but that's a Tom Kench. And none of his teammates are going to back him up on that one.
I was say, if you noticed there, I was like, sure, Derek Chapman, you know, John Gruden, they're taking a good amount of damage from there. Scotch took fucking nothing. He is a very tanky catfish.
Now, I have not played Tom Kench, kept up with the Tom Kench meta at all. Scotchonaut currently has a tie in
Dude, I don't understand what this champion feels. Hibbs, it's on you. You're the one who still plays this game.
that.
What it
To
do?
prepare for this, so I can slot in with you guys pretty well. I haven't played in a couple weeks,
Oh,
since we got
no.
knocked out.
All right,
So-
well, I'm going out on a bold prediction here, and I'm trusting my gut. I think that Tiamat is a really, really bad decision out of Scotch.
I would agree.
Especially in the game sense to be this far behind and to be sitting on Tiamats, but they are going to be going for a Rift Herald play here. Shelly going to smack into that turret. Costly hook going to miss there out of John Gruden, but KPP playing this one out pretty aggressively as Shelly going to get the second charge in.
Dude, 2 shards off Shelly is the dream. It's not a bad, not bad Rift Herald at all.
They needed a turret back and they got it.
Yeah,
It'll
exactly.
slow the bleeding slightly. They're still down a
Unfortunately,
ton
Mace
of
is looking
gold.
like he's gonna be able to answer top tower here.
But will he get caught? Probably not.
And he's going to flash onto that blast cone. A nice blasting cone for the double disengage there.
All the map control right now is in favor of 4 Eggplant.
Yeah.
Microphone
They
muted.
they have
Microphone activated.
all the outer turrets down, whereas KPP doesn't, and they can just keep pushing in waves and getting vision over the big objectives. Should be a clean closeout from here, but that's
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
all on
if
them.
I had to guess, I would say it wouldn't be.
I would say
We'll see how it
it is
goes.
definitely, the option is definitely there. I mean, they're 6K up on the team when they're the team that scales better and team fights better. That's a really good place to be.
Yeah, Gruden going for the hook play. Looking like he wants some backing from his boy Dario Chapman, but he's going to just die trying to set it up. John Gruden has looked awful this game.
Yeah, him and Beyblade have been having a very, very rough game so far. And it has been showing.
Yeah, we can see Gruden pretty out of his element to be playing the support here. And that play is directly going to turn into an Infernal Dragon. Second Dragon of the game. Much more useful than the first one here, going over to 4 EP. So that should simplify their closeout.
Yeah, I think the ward coverage or the lack thereof from KPP really hurt him there. Gruden goes to ward, maybe sees a possible hook, but just jumps into 3 people unknowingly. See
Yeah,
the map
it was
control
only
kind
2.
of coming
It
into
was
play.
it was just Bestus and
I think he saw 2, but then
more showed up afterwards, but that's just why
yeah,
they couldn't continue
he
with
saw,
the fight.
He just
like,
saw 2 guys.
he
thought
saw
had
2
more
guys dropped a hook and then, Sword and
Didn't understand
Bestus
the
one
dude
just blew him
potential.
up. Well, like, I mean, 95% of his health was lost to 2 people. I think it's just, he sees the person, he's like, I can hook this champion, my team is here. And he doesn't forget that he's also really squishy, and he's got a Chain Vest as his defensive item against 2 magic users.
Yeah, and he's level 9 as well. That's 2
Like-
levels down on Sensory GG. That's 5
And that's
levels
4 and
down, so
5 down.
nice.
Yeah. Like, the EXP disadvantage here is just absolutely massive. That is a lot of raw stats.
John Gruden maybe being caught out by the dangerous pick potential of the Lulu. Sword Mace dropping his ult down as the Callista ult was used to pull John Gruden out there. Now Lissandra ulting defensively, but 4 Eggplants look like they want to just keep pushing this one forward. They don't give a damn about the towers. Master Splinter's going to go down, but he might be the only one. 1 for 2 in favor of the Eggplants is John Gruden, Jarvis looking over the wall here. 3 kills, 4 kills for the Eggplants.
That was an excellent Xayah ult out of Crystallize there at that end of that fight.
He had no vision of the Jarvan either.
No, he had
Either
like that was fast. That was fast
just
as
luck,
fuck
but I don't
response.
know.
Like Jarvan came over the wall and just immediately ults out like mid Cataclysm. Like Jarvan immediately EQ'd over, starts the Cataclysm, and he's just like, no, I'm out of here.
That is the fight that's going to break the base open, is the mid inhibitor going down and the bot turret probably going to take a decent chunk of damage from that giant creep wave as this gold lead balloons up to 10,000 at 25 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, that's this one.
Hesitating, but there are still some guys there. The only recall that's gone off is Master Splinter. So if he has the ability to ult in here, they might look for this fight as John Gruden, the world's squishiest Nautilus, dies yet again. As now Jarvan trying to dive in here. We've got a teleport coming out of Scott. This could be the game-sealing fight if KPP can't find something. But they've already been lost this fight pretty badly. 2 for 3, and now the Xayah has shown up. That is a 2 for 4. Sorry, make that 2 for 3, but Xayah's trying to equalize this here. As that time at Scotch out actually putting out some decent damage, but still 3 for 4. Just Beyblade with no help to defend his base at this point.
Well, that was a fight. That was a fight. Fortunately for the 4 Eggplants, their waves are in position and they get to go, you know, push them all in.
That was a better fight than KPP could have hoped for, but not a good enough fight for them to have a chance at winning this game.
Yeah, I feel like that is like the exact thought I had, and you just perfectly vocalized.
Like, wasn't that bad, but not anywhere near good. So
yeah,
they Baron on the table here. I think that will be the next objective, and then pretty much a easy split push into a win is what I imagine they'll try to go for.
I do not see the KPP being able to handle a split push from this comp at all.
Yeah, it's worth noting that that bot lane inhibitor turret's down to about half health right now, so if 4EP wants to opt into a 4-1, which Sword Mace does have the teleport available, but they are going to bait over this wall instead. Flashing forward on a Dario Chapman, a huge slicing Maelstrom coming out of Sword Mace in the middle of all of these playground chaos, and they're chasing forward here. Jarvan flashing, but still going to go down. His best but is playing this fight so far forward. He's taking this entire team on by himself and is winning. It is now Scott trying to be a last line of defense, but even a Tom Kench can't tank through all of that damage. Meanwhile, on the other side of this map, Callista, a far way away from all the sports. He is going to go down Master Splinter's 4th of the game, as he's maybe going to take more turret damage than he wants to here. Beyblade looking for something, but not going to find it. And the super wave being rode in from the mid lane. These Nexus turrets are going to go down real fast as the first one is down. And this is a very aggressive closeout positioning being taken by the Eggplants, as I think Splinter's probably screaming at his teammates to get out of the mid lane right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly they thought like, hey, we can just bait out Baron. No, we want to win now. We're going for it.
Yeah.
They flashed.
That was a good initiative. They rolled that fight. That fight was completely one-sided. It's just they got so many people to, you know, 15-20%, and not many kills converted off of that. And then they had, you know, Sword and Mace and Master Splinter chased all the way into the bot to finish off the Callista, and you know, everyone was split apart.
Yeah, well, whenever you dive super deep in a fight, your team gets split up.
Yeah.
Like, some people go this way, some people go that way to try to pick up a kill. So by the end of that fight, even though they had rolled them at the beginning, they were in like 3 different places at once, and they couldn't collectively come back together to get an objective.
I mean, they got one of the Nexus turrets at least, so
yeah, that's true.
But not ideal.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of the game, you have to think one Nexus turret, maybe one of the less valuable objectives.
I would say it is. I would say, yeah, any other objective would be more valuable.
I think Sword wants to fight Comrade Scotch here as Master Splinter is showing up with the knockup. Sword going to pop the slicing Maelstrom, and Scotch flashing to his death. But Shotman and Dem showing up here. But they are about to be very out, man. Next ballistic gets flanked and fucked there. Crystallized dominating on this Zaya. Jarvan gonna be the next victim as Splinter charges forward for the kill. And I think that is going to be your game.
Yeah, I don't see them coming back from this. They have 30 seconds here. You got the super minion in mid. It does not bode well for you, John Gruden.
Yeah, just for good measure, Master Splinter taking out his Monday Night Football rage here in the mid lane. And that is going to be a clean closeout after starting like a clown fiesta. And 4A clans are gonna take this series lead 1-0.
Oh no, troll inhibitor!
Oh, the inhib respawn!
Is this gonna
Inhib
stall out the
respawn
game?
Stops him from getting that sub 30-minute win, unfortunately.
Yep. I don't think it's gonna save the game, but we will see. It gives the Kylie's Playground Pals a chance here.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it is
looking for
maybe
the
gonna give the 4A clans a few extra kills here. Swordface putting down a chunky slicing Maelstrom on the back of the side before dying. As 4A clans are really plowing their way out of this one. It's pretty much just the bestest one chunking out everyone he can, but at this point in the game, I think that's enough. As he's trying to find this kill onto the Glista, and actually, this might... No, sorry, Crystallize is on the next.
Yeah, Crystallize had the right idea. Everyone else is like running around fighting and no health bars. He's just like, oh, fuck this thing, kill it faster.
Crystallize had the mindset of a 8-1-10-80 carry who wanted to make sure he finished with the best score on his team.
Yeah, nuts.
And I can respect that.
That is a very respectable score line.
Alright guys, so we're gonna just cut to a quick break here. We will be back in a few moments when these teams are ready to get rolling into game 2, so do not touch that browser.